What's up, everybody? It is the best spot, Kid Smooth, and I am back with another discussion video on something I would like to see happen. Now, there's going to be a lot of these videos. You may not like them. They may sound like pipe dreams or just a man just holding on to something that just may not ever come back. But let me bring you guys back. Do you remember this little game called Perfect Dark? It was the ultimate challenger to 007 GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64. Rare made themselves a classic with a character with a purpose, who had a nice gear of arsenal. It was like she had a nice pistol, some upgraded, some futuristic gadgets and whatnot. A little quirky, a little goofy. And her name was Joanna Dark. And the game that we all knew her from was Perfect Dark. After that game did receive a prequel after Microsoft acquired Rare Studios, and they made Perfect Dark Zero for the Xbox 360. It was the launch title in November of 2005. It served as a first-person shooter. It was supposed to be the revival. It was supposed to be the Halo of to launch the Xbox 360, since Halo 3 wasn't available at the time. But you know, it didn't turn out too well. It was received average. I mean, the game was shiny, but it wasn't very polished. It was one of, you know, a game. It didn't have a jump button. I remember it tried to incorporate third person and first person. It was a majority of first person shooter, but it did allow you to take cover in third person, and the campaign was okay. But it was nothing special. I enjoyed the multiplayer. I thought it was fun. It was like one of the only games where the map grew with the player count. So if it was like, for example, I don't know if this is the exact number. I haven't played this game online in a while, but if it was, let's say if it was 4v4 or 5v5, the map would be a certain limit, like a certain size. But if it was a, you know, 6v6 or 8v8 or example 10v10, I forgot what the largest count was, but the map grew, like it doubled, and it was like, holy crap, you know what I mean? You didn't have to play specific maps. Each map was available, and the size just changed depending on how many players there were, and that was pretty dope, pretty underrated feature available in that game. But since then, you know, we haven't heard from a Perfect Dark. You know what I mean? Rare has moved on since that point. They were working on Connect and other type games, you know what I mean? And every other shooter to come out after Perfect Dark Zero has long behold surpassed it. You know, Call of Duty, Halo, the Gears. Nobody needed another Perfect Dark. But now, here we are. Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark is one of the games that needs to be rebooted, needs to be remade. Now, what do I want out of another Joanna Dark game? This game, it doesn't need to be a shooter. It doesn't even need to be a first-person shooter. No, we've been there, we've done that. But we have a character, we have a story, and we have a cast of characters that we can surround us. Now, if you look at the Perfect Dark lore, it's the characters are a bit goofy. Even some of the enemies are a bit goofy, but there is a premise that they can work with. There is something that they can work with and kind of throw in this alternate like universe or this alternate reality where they can make Perfect Dark seem more realistic. And so that Joanna Dark can resonate with a larger fan base. Now, let's talk about the story of like Joanna Dark. And it was a family. You know, you had Joanna Dark, you had Jack Dark, you had her friend Chandra. They ran, I want to say like bail bonds. I mean, Jack Dark was he was an ex-Marine. He was in the army or something like that. But then he also was a cop. You know what I mean? So they did work. They did contract work. And Chandra, she was a nice African American young woman, but smart. Reminds me of the chick from Black Panther. What's his name? T'Challa's little sister. Reminds me of her. She was all with the tech, knowing where everything is, how to do certain things, providing Joanna with like the latest gear to help her get through missions. And then you have Joanna, nice, innocent, young, reminded me of a young version of Lara Croft, but you know, still needing guidance. And I think about the story of Perfect Dark, or these characters, and how we can make Joanna grow up and put her in a scene that's current with what we're getting with today's gaming. When I think of Perfect Dark, or what Perfect Dark could be, I'm not thinking of Call of Duty or Halo or freaking whatever, Doom or Wolfenstein. No. When I think of Perfect Dark, or when I think of the character of Joanna Dark, I think of Sam Fisher in Splinter Cell. I think of Lara Croft in Tomb Raider. I think of Nathan Drake in Uncharted. I think of Hitman. I think of all of these characters in these latest games where they've like evolved in the way their gameplay mechanics. I'm like, that's Joanna. Joanna can be that. Joanna can thrive in this universe. You know what I mean? Joanna would not survive another first person shooter. You know, because it's just not realistic. It's just not cool. It just doesn't match anymore. But looking at this woman we have here, the red head, the tight bodysuit, the blue, the dual wielding pistols, the silencer she keeps. That's the makings of something incredible. And why not? When reboot Perfect Dark, reboot Joanna Dark, there's a story. She doesn't have to just come out and just be a bounty hunter. We all played Perfect Dark Zero. Something tragic happens. Joanna loses her father, Jack. Now, in Perfect Dark Zero, like I said, it was a quirky game. You couldn't take it serious. The acting was horrible. The voice acting was cringy. But it gave you a purpose. It gave you a purpose. You can anybody look at Joanna Dark, man. You can see how they reimagined Lara Croft and how they reimagined all these other characters, and you can model something. You can model someone and bring us a Joanna Dark that could look like pretty much realistic, you know? And I say a Joanna Dark in a futuristic universe, keep the same premise, the same, you know, a game where you are just doing contract work. And one of the jobs go wrong. Joanna, unfortunately, her father, the legendary, her trainer, the one that got the Dark Bell Bonds business going, and the contract work that they're getting done, they're like bounty hunters, they're like mercenaries, you know. But all her learning that stops because she loses her father Jack. And then from there on, it's her and her companion. It's Chandra over the phone. Maybe Chandra could be used as a co-op partner or someone that's there to assist. And it's Joanna Dark getting through these missions. Now, when I think of Perfect Dark, you think of Dark, and of course, her last name is Dark, but I think of stealth, you know? Now, I'm not a big fan of stealth games or getting through missions completely silently, but I do like having the option to do that. Now, if you played previous Perfect Dark games, you can get through games like shooting, running, and gunning, or you can get through games like hacking and making your way around and like trying not to alert other people. And I think they can apply that. I think Perfect Dark has the perfect environment, the perfect scenery to be rebooted into a third-person action adventure game inspired by Tomb Raider, Splinter Cell, Uncharted. It has it, and that's what we need now. Microsoft, who would you have do that? Now, most certainly, much respect to Rare, but no. I'm looking at who's the people. Isn't the people that made Hitman? They're independent now, right? They did a good job with Hitman, but I mean, maybe Microsoft can contract them, or maybe Microsoft can cooperate with the folks with some of the studios Ubisoft owns to help to assist that. Or maybe 343 might be up for the task. Who knows? Maybe Rare Rare's a large studio. Maybe they do have like some talented team who can who've been inspired by some existing titles and they say, hey, we can do this. But it's a game that's been missing, and we've seen games being rebooted and starting from scratch and pretty much just like finding an extension of life. And I think Perfect Dark is long overdue. Now, you guys see my last video about Rise, but Perfect Dark has history. Perfect Dark is a familiar name. When you think of Perfect Dark, you think of Nintendo 64, you think of GoldenEye. But you might also think of Perfect Dark Zero and how much fun it wasn't. But to add another person or to add another character to your arsenal, for Microsoft to add another game to their first-party studios that they can launch on off years that Halo's not releasing, on off years that a Gear's not releasing, and it be not just another shooter, but like a well drawn out action adventure game that kind of gives you the choice to play and to give you a realistic story. I feel like you look at the Perfect Dark story, you play through Perfect Dark Zero, you play through Perfect Dark, and you can really retell those stories in a much better way. The enemies don't even, the same stuff can occur, but just with different villains, more believable villains, more villains you want to really have a knack to, like, you know what, I really want to take this person down. Because, I mean, Ziegler, that's not somebody like, he was goofy. He was just, he dressed like a club, like he just, like somebody from a 1997 music video. He had a ponytail. He was just corny. He was quirky. Ziegler's not a villain that when Ziegler killed Jack, I just like, damn, Jack got killed by Ziegler? It's like Ziegler's not a badass. You know what I mean? But maybe you can recreate Ziegler. Maybe you give him a different name. Maybe you recreate the universe and you can retell the story of Perfect Dark and make it more impactful. Keeping Jack dark, keeping Chandra, keeping Joanna. The other goofy people they got in the lore and the story isn't really necessary. But if they really wanted to reboot it and turn it to something serious, they can. Because they have the information. They have the characters. They have the games. They know what worked and they know what didn't work. But I feel like if you have two games of story and you have a character that can resonate with others, go for it. We're owed another Perfect Dark, but I want a perfect. Hell, what do you call it? Do you call it Becoming Perfect Dark or The Rise of Joanna? Like, I don't know, but this is the type of stuff I like. And so far, Microsoft does own the IP. This was a game originated by Rare. I don't see it Rare making a game like this, but I do see a rebirth in Joanna Dark and the Perfect Dark series. And they have plenty of examples there for them. Like I said, look at games like Hitman, Splinter Cell, Tomb Raider, Uncharted. And you can see where Joanna could fit. Because sure, you got Drake looking for treasures, and Lara Croft raiding tombs out in Siberia, and you got, you know, the dude, what's this, the Agent 47 going out assassinating people all across the world, and then you got, you know, Sam Fisher remaining on the hunt. Perfect Dark takes place in the future. She has futuristic tech gear that can hack into cameras or phones, watches, upgraded weapons. She keeps a silencer on her pistol. She dual wields. She can climb. She can use zip lines. She can, you can add vehicles. You can have an ultimate cover system, a stealth system for her. You have somebody to keep you busy to navigate objectives. You got Chandra telling you where to go. Oh, do this. Oh, only right here. I got an upgrade for you. But you have to. This is what you have to do to get it. Once you hit level this, you can upgrade. You can upgrade the hacking system. Your hacks will go faster. It's just so much where the story, the game can go, and how they can grow from it. And hopefully they do it, because I like Joanna. I like Joanna Dark. I like the idea of Perfect Dark, and if it can be rebooted into a third-person action-adventure game inspired by those like Tomb Raider, Uncharted, Splinter Cell, Hitman, and I think we got ourselves another one in the making. But let me know your thoughts. It's Kid Smooth. I'm out of here. Peace.